Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Digimon Adventure 2020, episode 15. So, last we left off with the Ultimate Evolution episode for Izzy and Tentamon. We met Atler Kabuterimon, who I know from the English dub of the original adventure as Mega Kabuterimon. Um, but yeah, still same Digimon generally. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes next because we should be getting Joe next, which means we'll be getting Zudomon. I think Zudomon is the ultimate for Gomamon. But I'm interested to see because we should also be reconnecting soon, and hopefully that means we'll be getting TK soon. Like I'm really waiting for TK. You know, like I like TK. Yeah, he's the little kid of the group and everything, but I've always liked him. I've just always really thought he was a nice, good character. And then who knows when Kari's coming in? If they do the same as the original, she won't come in until they really start with Myotismon, because that's when Gatomon comes in as well. Um, but who knows? Who knows? I don't know exactly how how accurate to the original they're planning on making this. There's already some differences for sure, but it's like, are they still going to do it based on those arcs nonetheless? I mean, we are doing Devimon currently. We know that, but yeah, I guess we'll just have to see. We also have to meet Leomon. Leomon's been mentioned as leading this resistance, so we have to meet Leomon still. That's a thing. I forgot about. Yeah, the I think it was the Digimon who were in the desert mentioned him that they were actually going there, going to Leomon. So yeah, maybe we'll meet him soon. Um, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But either way, so yeah, this episode's probably going to be the ultimate for Gomamon. Um, so maybe some good development for Joe in this one. We got some good development for Izzy, learning to kind of just be able to trust himself beyond his, tech skills, be able to trust him and his intelligence. So that was good. And all of these Ultimate Evolution episodes have been doing the same kind of thing for each of these characters, giving them some development and character beyond what they already had. So I've been enjoying it. But yeah, it's definitely different than in the original series because in the original series, them getting to their ultimate forms was a much bigger deal and took a lot longer. But I think I'm fine with them doing it this way because, again, as I've said in the past, it's just like they're changing things up and doing things differently. And with this being a reboot, it's like there's a certain point where you've just got to like say, okay, a lot of people who are watching this are probably going to be fans of the original. And so it's like watching the exact same thing over again, it's not going to be as entertaining. We want to see some differences. And this is honestly, one of the smartest ways to do it. One that makes the most sense. We know what the ultimate evolutions are going to be. Why not show them? You can build up towards the megas because those are like, final stage for the most part, save for a couple of special evolutions later down the line. But it's like, yeah, it's like we know what the ultimates are, a lot of us, or at least have some memory of that. So it's like, why bother hiding it for too long? Why bother building up too much to it? You know what I mean? It just feels like it would be like a little unnecessary at this point. Again, considering most of the fan base is probably going to be carrying over from the original. Especially because, not just because it's a new Digimon, especially because it is a reboot of Adventure 1, which is, I would say, honestly, the most popular Digimon. Like, people really loved Adventure 2 and even the third season, I think Tamers. I always get them mixed up. Yeah, that would have to be Tamers because Fusion, I think, was the. No, I'm not even sure. but I think that was Tamers. But yeah, the first three generations, let's put it that way, were definitely really popular and definitely the most popular with fans. But I think even amongst them, Adventure One is kind of what most fans see as the pinnacle still. So yeah. Anyway, I don't know exactly what we're gonna get this episode. I can only guess the Goemon thing, but that's obviously a very educated guess. But I don't know like what enemies we're gonna face or what the actual situation's gonna be. So that's gonna be interesting to find out. Um, excuse me. I've been yawning a lot today. But anyway, we're just gonna get this started and find out. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so yeah, this was obviously what I thought it was going to be. It was Joe's Ultimate Evolution episode with Goemon and everything. And we got Zudomon. Yeah, I swear Zudomon's design is slightly different. In fact, let me look that up real quick. Probably not going to show it on screen, but I'm just curious. Like again, it looks the same overall. It's just I feel like I don't know, maybe something about the body is a little different. No, it looks the same from everything I'm seeing. I don't know. I just feel like it's I mean the original, I think the shell looks bigger maybe. Let me try to find it again on the the shell's still plenty big. Still has the horn and everything. It looks like in the older picture I'm looking at here, he's crouching a little more. So maybe that's it. He looks like he's crouching down. I was thinking the build was different, like the physical build of him, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Like that doesn't seem to be the case at all. Maybe I'm just misremembering. That's always probable. um, but anyways, so yeah, this was definitely a good episode, and it was definitely a big thing for Joe to have to learn. Like that seems to be a thing through these Ultimate episodes. They're all learning something while they're getting their ultimate, while their Digimon partners are getting their ultimate evolutions. And it seems like them learning this is helping with that. Joe's, in this case, was learning to be courageous despite his own fears. He's clearly a bit of a cowardly character, and I'm not saying that as like this big negative or anything. I'm just saying it like as truth. He's afraid. He's kind of out of his depth. He is not as strong or as brave or as just outwardly confident as others. He faces a lot of self confidence issues, a lot of courage issues. But like I said, courage isn't the absence of fear, it's doing what's right in spite of it. Courage is when you understand, yeah, you're afraid of something, but you're still going to fight because it's the right thing to do because of whatever reason might be relevant at that time. In this case, saving Sora. Like, yeah, she's going to be fine, but in order to continue to protect her, to make sure that these Digimon don't present a continuing threat, he needs to make sure that they're dealt with. And so Joe, despite his fear, stands up to them. He chooses to fight. And that allows Ikakumon to digivolve into Zudomon. So yeah, I really like how these episodes are doing that for these characters. Are giving them something more, like helping them grow a little bit uh, through their through their trials is a good way to put it, I guess. Um, we also see a little bit of other stuff going on here. We see some Kiwimon that Mimi tried to ride, which was hilarious. Um, and of course, the ending part, which is a big cliffhanger, like a really big one. And I think a good place to leave off on, like a really big cliffhanger at this point, after the final ultimate evolution is reached, like end off on some big surprising cliffhanger. Yeah, that's I think a good idea. Um, and I think that at this point things are just going to get much more interesting because obviously they're not back in the real world. Um, now there was I think one, I think it was one or two episodes in the original series. And I remember this because, especially because I watched the Digimon full series retrospective from Billiam. But there was like an episode or two that focused on this little like mini story of Tai going back to the real world, but like there were things off about it and stuff, and so he had to choose to go back to the digital world for his friend's sake. Maybe that's what they're doing here. So it still could be an illusion and everything. It's just we'll have to see, I guess. But yeah, it's a really good cliffhanger to leave on. There's not really much else I can think of to talk about because most of it definitely involved Joe's own fears and getting over that, or at least starting to work towards that. Um, I wouldn't say Sora and Matt were useless in this one. They were just not needed in action. um, they weren't needed for the situation at hand. Let's put it that way. Plus, Sora was hurt, and Matt had to watch over her, and Joe knew that. They weren't useless. They just were busy with, you know, Sora being hurt. Um, and the other team didn't really have too much. It just continued to show them to, you know, continue to show them to make them still remain a part of this. Um, there really wasn't too much else to talk about. Like Mammon and the Frigimon, or Yuki Darumon, as they're called in the Japanese, they didn't really have too much of a presence. Like some of the other Digimon we've had, it's like they were threatening, they were big, they had the ice powers and stuff, but they didn't have like a massive presence compared to some of the others. Um, and yeah, just that's really all that I have to talk about that. I want to stretch this out more, but there's really nothing else that I have to say regarding it. I'm very excited to see where this goes next, though, so that should be fun. Um, we'll see. We'll see as we continue on. But tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of Digimon Adventure 2020, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.